Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadene Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Ram Ram. What am I connected to? Oh, I'm connected to this.
It was the cable. They changed the cable.
Oh, it's the. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's working good.
Oh.
You
I
want to do
see.
that now, or you need to do some drilling
Okay.
as a temporary fix, is it okay for just in a day or so?
Yes. It's just the two of us here. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram. Oh, Jai Devaki Kharasha Devachka. Haribol. Haribol. Yamuna is Peterborga. Haribol. Jai Giri Raj. Ram Hari 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 Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari Ram Hari Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Wow. What on earth? Jetzt zvoka. Uh-uh. Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Ram. We got no sound. Haribol. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh. What is happening? Oops. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Satyakumar Prabhu. Acha. Uh-huh. Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Kiati, what did you cook, Kiati? Did you do the peppers, green and red, the chilies and the red pepper? Was it you? What and the pickle, carrot? What did you do? Please tell me. Ram. Cupcakes. The cupcakes, what? Satchikamar Prabhu? Cupcakes?
For the evening.
Oh, for the evening. And apple chutney, yeah?
That was at lunchtime. The green.
Oh, that was, okay. Okay.
Pickle, apple chutney, and the green chili.
Right. The green chili shark and the red with red peppers, or was that was not something separate, was it?
It was.
Oh, it was something separate. Oh, anyway, the green chili shark was really good. Thank you. Sure, it was great. And the apple chutney was, the pickle was fantastic. And apple chutney was really nice. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Rotis. Rotis are tonight. Rotis are tonight?
Parathas.
Parathas. But there were rotis also. Oh, that was something else.
I didn't give you rotis.
Okay. Jai Kyati Haribol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Hare. Ganga Seva. I will pray for Kevala Priya. Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Jai Devaki. Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Krishna. Okay. Достаточно. Спасибо. Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare 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 Ram. Rasa Priya. Hare Krishna, Rasa Priya.
Hare Krishna, дорогой Гуру Махарадж, примите мою поклон. Вся слава Шрили Прабхупаде.
Haribol, Spasiba. Очень рад видеть вас. Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari. Hari Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari Hari Hari.
हरे कृष्ण भक्तजनों, मैं भक्ति चैतन्य स्वामी हूँ। मैं आपको चैतन्य महाप्रभु की एक और लीला बताना चाहता हूँ। चैतन्य महाप्रभु भगवान श्री कृष्ण के आधुनिक अवतार।
Hari Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hari Hari Ram Hari Ram. Hare Krishna devotees. This is Bhakti. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna. Hari Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hari Hari. Hari Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण भक्तजनों, मैं भक्ति चैतन्य स्वामी हूँ। मैं
Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari. Hari Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari 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 Krishna, Hari Krishna. Ram Ram, Hari 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 Krishna, Krishna, Hari 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 Ram, Hari Ram. Ram Ram, Hari 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 Krishna, Hari Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hari 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 Ram. Ram Ram, Hari 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 Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hari 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 Ram, Hari Ram. Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, 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 Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, 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 Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Hari Ram, Hari Ram, 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 Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, 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 Hari, Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari Hari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pramanachananda Shri Adi Gadadha Shas Adi Govardhana Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Ram. Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna. Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna. Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Hari, Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Hari, Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna. Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Hari Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Hari Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Hari Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Hari Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmacharya Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Govardhana Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Jai Cecil Ram Ram Hare Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmacharya Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram. Could I have some more of the juice, please? Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari. Thank you. Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Hari Val. Slava Prabhupada. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna. The volume is the same as last night. Is it okay? Ram.
That's wonderful.
Okay. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Okay. All right. Devotees. 1 minute. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastya Chadeshatarne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Pramanachananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchkalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhyevacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Srila Prabhupada ki jai Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita ki jai Srila Sanatana Goswami ki jai Gaur Premanandi. So devotees, welcome to our 7th evening program on Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and we are going to conclude the first chapter this evening, and very likely we'll go on into the second chapter. There are 14 chapters altogether, so we are making some headway. That's nice. And of course, it's an amazing story. It's just an amazing story. And there's so much to be learned from it. So last night we finished off with the king from South India. The king from South India was denying that he had any mercy from the Lord, let alone that he was the recipient of the greatest mercy from the Lord. And so what happens now, there's about 10 more verses left in this chapter, and they are composed of the king from South India explaining why he feels the demigods are the recipients of the real mercy of the Lord in different ways. First of all, the demigods in general, for many different reasons. We'll go through those in a moment. And then he particularly points out Lord Indra, the king of the demigods, who he says is just exemplary. On one hand, he's exemplary amongst the demigods. On the other hand, he has some very special mercy, very special mercy. So like this, we'll go through now the king's explanation, why the demigods have the mercy and not him. Well, he's already said why he doesn't have. So why the demigods have the special mercy, and how Indra is special even amongst the demigods. And that concludes the first chapter. Okay, so let's go into the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Again, there are verses which have purports. There are verses which have no purports. And generally speaking, you don't really get long purports, if you get purports at all. So anyway, let us read, and we'll comment as we go. We won't read through all the verses and then go back and read them with their purports. We'll just read through, and where there's a purport, we'll read the purport, and we'll make some comments as we go. All right, so verse 66. And now it is the king speaking. The demigods are the real objects of the Supreme Lord Vishnu's mercy. They have effulgent bodies and are always worshipable by men. So there's an important point. They have effulgent bodies, 2 points, and they are worshipable by men, means by people like himself. The king is saying, people like me, who are we? We worship them because they're on a higher level. So there's 2 points as to why the demigods have, or may have, depends how you look at it, may have more mercy than this king. So the demigods, this is verse 67, they are sinless, fixed in goodness, free from distress, and always happy. There you have some more characteristics of the demigods, which distinguish them from the humans, even the humans who are great devotees. And yes, and they're signs of special mercy from the Lord. They act and travel however they like. Unlike me, I can hardly go outside the house. I can't even go to the temple room or associate with the devotees. But the demigods, they can act and travel as they like. They can go to Russia anytime or to India. I can't. I can't even go practically outside the door. They give their blessings by granting what their devotees desire. Who can do that? Who can do that? But the demigods, they can do that. And verse 68, their food is the nectar of immortality, which does away with such miseries as death, disease, and old age. Though not forced by hunger or thirst, the demigods enjoy great satisfaction in partaking of this nectar by their own sweet will. So they can just drink the nectar of immortality any time. And it's, it's just, sure, well, it's the nectar of immortality. What can you say? I've got some nice drink here, actually. Haribol. But it's not the nectar of immortality, but it's prasad, it's Krishna prasad. Okay, anyway. So, I get thirsty, I have to drink. They're not forced by hunger or thirst. They just drink when they like. O godly Narada, on the strength of their good fortune, they live in the realm of heaven, which humans on earth can attain only by perfect pious work. There's some more special features of the demigods, which, according to the king from South India, these are all symptoms of having the special mercy of the Lord, of them being recipients of the special mercy of the Lord. And, when we go into the next chapter, which we definitely will at this rate, I'm sure we will. Anyway, that's fine. But when we do, we'll see that the demigods, and particularly Indra, actually, the demigods, they criticize all these things. They criticize all these things. They say they have no piety for this reason or that. And, live in the realm of heaven. They'll say, we get kicked out by the demons. And so many of these different features of the situation of the demigods will point out how they're not so great. Yeah. They drink nectar, but the nectar gets stolen from them. They're sinless, but sometimes, like Indra, they perform serious sins. They're fixed in goodness, but they have many material desires. Anyway, we'll see just now. But right here in verse 70, the king points out Lord Indra as being special amongst the demigods. The demigods have all sorts of wonderful facilities, as he's already stated. But amongst them, Lord Indra, wow, what he's got. It's just truly amazing. So much mercy from the Lord. So we go on then, verse 70. The king is speaking to Narada. My dear sage, the most distinguished of these demigods is Purandara Indra. He has full power to reward and punish, and he gives the world life by providing rain. So, one interesting little point is that Indra, here, Indra is referred to as Purandara Indra. Indra is actually a title. More or less, literally, it means king. And his name is actually Purandara. Yeah, it's not exactly that his name is Indra. His name is Purandara, and he is the Indra, or the king of the demigods. So, okay, the most distinguished of these demigods is Purandara, Indra. He has full power to reward and punish, and he gives the world life by providing rain. He rules the 3 planetary systems for 71 celestial ages, a length of sovereignty no mundane king could earn, even by 100 horse sacrifices. Yeah. 71 celestial ages. Celestial ages, a celestial age is one cycle of the 4 yugas. So we explained, I think it was last night, how Bhagavad Gita states, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyad Brahmano Vidu, that 1,000 Sahasra Yuga, 1,000 cycles of the 4 yugas, Aharyad Brahmano Vidu, makes up 1 day of Lord Brahma. And in that 1 day of Brahma, which is made up of 1,000 cycles of the yugas, there are 13 manus. 13. And as stated here, the king's referring to Lord Indra, they rule for 71 celestial ages. If you divide 1,000 by 13, you'll end up with something like 71, give or take a bit, because in between Indras, there's a little gap. Yeah, there's a little gap. So 71 cycles of the yugas is the lifetime, more or less, or the ruling time of a Lord Indra. Yeah. And the king is saying, who can achieve that position? No ordinary king can. Even if he does 100 horse sacrifices, that means Ashvamedha. Ashva means horse. Yeah. And who can do 100 Ashvamedha sacrifices? Generally, people can't even do 1. I mean, even in those days, not now, forget about it totally. But in those days, people like kings who were the super wealthy, the kings were the super wealthy in those days. So even the kings, they might do 1, 2, 3, or a few, some smallish number of horse sacrifices, but 100, it was generally beyond the possibility of anyone. But Indra is in such a position, it cannot, the position he's in cannot be attained even if you do 100 horse sacrifices, which you can't do. 72, Uchaishrava is his horse, and Airavata his mighty elephant. His cow can be milked for any desire, and his garden is the resplendent Nandan or Nandana. Yeah, these are the paraphernalia of Indra. Part of his paraphernalia, these animals, 3 animals, horse, elephant, cow, they are not your ordinary horse, elephant, or cow by any means. The horse, Uchaishrava, anyway, it's a very special horse, but Airavata, the elephant, we know a little bit about him, that he has 4 tusks. He has 4 trunks. So amongst elephants, he's like just the absolute king of the elephants. And the cow, horse, elephant, and cow, the cow is a Surabi cow, actually. There's a whole story, you may have heard us tell it, of how after the Govardhan Leela, when Lord Indra offended Krishna and the bridge buses, it was just absolutely shocking. He tried to kill them all. That's an offense, right? If you try to kill someone, that's an offense. Aparad. What do you do if you try to kill someone, but then you find out it was the wrong person? What do? Do you go and say, "Oh, sorry, mistake"? If you try to kill someone, that's such an incredible offense. It's just, I expect, we have no experience of an offense like that. But Indra tried to kill all the Brijbasis, including Krishna, Radharani, the whole cowherd community, and then all the cows and all the other animals. Talk about being an offender. But by the arrangement of his Surabi cow, told him, gave him guidance how to approach Krishna, to apologize. So with her help, Indra was able to apologize and get Krishna's mercy again. But then after all that, Indra was still feeling bad. So the Surabi cow took him to Navadvip. And there in Navadvip Mandal, in Godrum Dweep, the Surabi cow took him to Surabi Kunj, where there was a giant banyan tree. And she went under the tree, and Lord Gauranga appeared there. And Indra offered his obeisances to Lord Gauranga, who he'd never heard of before, and got the mercy of Lord Gauranga and got forgiveness for all those offenses of trying to kill the Brijbasis. So these animals of Lord Indra, they're really special. They're extremely special. So, yes, in the purport here, certain things are pointed out, that because Indra has received special mercy from the Lord, therefore he can curse or give blessings as he likes, whereas other demigods can only respond to the specific requests of their devotees. And the king says, I'm just ruling, a small tract of land. This Indra is ruling the universe. And he rules practically the entire universe for 71 cycles of the 4 yugas. That's so much longer than I rule for. Many, 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 many times longer. So he's got the mercy. He's got the mercy. So, okay. Verse 73. So at the end of this 72, his garden was mentioned, the Nandana garden, and 73 describes it. In that garden are desire trees like the Parijata, whose flowers yield whatever one may wish. Those trees, adorned with desire-yielding creepers, assume whatever forms one may like. So, I don't know if any of you were really into gardens, growing nice things. But Indra, his garden, he's got a garden, the Nandan garden. You know, in some countries, I know more about England in that regard, but I'm sure in other countries too. In some of these old palaces, the kings or whoever lived in the palaces, they had these incredible gardens. You're just going for acres and acres and acres and different types of gardens. But compared to the Nandana garden of Lord Indra, oh my gosh, even those palatial gardens of the royalty of planet Earth, compared to the Nandana garden of Indra, they're just nothing. They're practically nothing. Parijata. And those Parijatas fulfill desires. At our temple in Chatsworth and Durban, Radharatnath Temple, we have a Parijata tree. And it gives beautiful flowers, but they don't fulfill any desires. They're very small and very sort of delicate, but nicely fragrant. And those trees, they're all wish-fulfilling trees. They're adorned with wish-fulfilling creepers. And those creepers are so wish-fulfilling that they will assume any form you like. What to speak of giving you some money or some fruit or some this or that. They'll assume whatever form you may want. That's Indra's garden. Even, this is 74, even a single flower from those trees can fully satisfy one's desires, whether for wonderful songs and music, splendid dances, bright clothing and ornaments, good food, or anything else. It's incredible, isn't it? And I think this is 75. It's almost the last verse. And now comes something really special about Indra. Something really, really special about Indra. But later, just a little later, when Narada Muni meets Indra and glorifies him because you've got these things which the king has just mentioned, all these different things, then Indra is going to explain how those things don't help him at all including this. Listen to this. And oh, how can I even describe Indra's greatest fortune? The personality of Godhead Vishnu has taken the form of Vamanadev and become his younger brother. Wow, that's mercy, isn't it? I mean, that sounds like real mercy to me, to have the Supreme Lord as your younger brother. But don't worry, when Narada meets Indra, Indra will explain how, having a brother like him doesn't help at all. In fact, this brother of mine gives me such a hard time. Oh gosh. Okay. And now here we are at verse 76, last verse in this first chapter. Lord Vamanadev encourages Indra by shielding him from dangers and by accepting in person the elaborate worship Indra offers. But of course you already know this and much more. Narada knows, of course. Right, so anyway, in the commentary, there's a purport here, and it points out that Vamana is Indra's brother. He's not like, you could say, his real brother, like biological, actual brother born of the same mother. Well, I mean, he is, in a sense he is, but still, he's on a higher level, obviously. He's the Supreme Lord, so he's on a higher level. So he acts as a younger brother. Yeah, that's the point. And Indra worships him as the Lord, and Vamanadev very graciously accepts the offerings. Okay, devotees. Let's go on to chapter 2. Just give me one moment. Here we are. Chapter 2. All right, now in this chapter, let's see how many verses are there in this chapter 2. 100 verses. There's 100 verses. In chapter 1, there was 75. So the first section is from verse 1 to verse 35. And it's divided up into, I think it's must be four subsections. Sure. Yeah, 4 subsections. We're not going to go through all of them now, but we'll go through the first one, maybe the first couple of subsections. So the whole section goes to verse 35, and the title which we've given it is Lord Indra the recipient of the Lord's mercy, greatest mercy? Or, as when we hear Indra talk about it, the question will be, is Indra a recipient of any mercy from the Lord? Yes. Yeah. So let's get into it. So the section's from verse 1 to verse 35, but as we said, it's divided into 4 subsections. The first one is from verse 1 to verse 7. And this is about Narada Muni arriving in the heavenly planet Swarga Loka. And then he sees Lord Vamana with Indra. And, you know, when Narada Muni sees that, he thinks, wow, this is real mercy. Maybe this person really has the greatest mercy. Yeah, so this is from verse 1 to verse 7. Let's read through. Sri Parikshit said, after praising the great king, Narada made his way to heaven. There, in the assembly hall, he saw Lord Vishnu in all his brilliance, surrounded by hosts of demigods. So, the situation is superior to the situation of the South Indian king. And verse 2, don't forget, this is the Supreme Lord. This is Lord Vamana who's being talked about here. He was decorated with sandalwood pulp, divine ornaments and garments, and a garland made of varied flowers from desire trees. Sitting comfortably on the back of Garuda, he was worshipped with celestial offerings. Verse 3, and again, don't forget, this is talking about the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, or Vamana actually. Brihaspati and other exalted sages praised his glories, and Mother Aditi pampered him. He in turn delighted each of them with his affectionate comments. Verse 4, Siddhas, Vidyadharas, Gandharvas, and Apsaras recited prayers. They cried, all glories to you, and sang, danced, and played music, all for his pleasure. So now, listen to this. This is very interesting. And there's a bit of a purport here, actually. This is, what is it now? It's verse 5, right? In words that all could hear, the Lord assured Indra that he need not be afraid of the Daityas, means the demons, the children of Diti. They're called Daityas. Kirti Devi offered the Lord betel nut, which he gracefully accepted and chewed. So this is what Narada Muni saw. The demigods worshipping Lord Vamana in the assembly hall of Indra, who is the Lord's, apparently, or more or less, or externally, however you might put it, the Indra, the hall of Indra, who is the Lord's older brother. Something like that, yeah. So, Sanatana Goswami makes an interesting comment that the demigods were following one of two standards described in old textbooks on deity worship, like Vishnu Bhakti Chandra Daya, the common standard in which 16 items are offered for the Lord's pleasure, beginning with Padya and Arghya waters, or alternatively a more elaborate worship with 64 items. Wow. So while the worship was going on in all these different ways. Aditi, the mother of Vamana, held his soft hands and cared for him in various ways. The Siddhas recited prayers, Vidyadharas played musical instruments, Gandharvas sang, and the Apsaras danced. The Lord spoke to Indra and told him, you don't need to worry about the demons. Don't worry about the Daityas, the demons. I'll take care of them. And the Lord told him, if necessary, I'll kill them all. So as the Lord said that, he raised his right lotus hand in the gesture of fearlessness. Abhaya-dan mudra. Abhaya, of course, is without fear. Dan means to give. And mudra is the hand gesture. That gesture of fearlessness. Then Kirti Devi. This is interesting. Lord Vamana, of course, when he first appeared, he was just like a little boy. But every little boy grows up to be a man. I was a little boy once, would you believe? But look, I've become an old man. So Lord Vamana has, here in this situation, grown up and become an adult, and he is now married. His wife is Kirti Devi. Kirti Devi. And she's lovingly offering him betel that she has prepared herself, even though she is the wife of the Supreme Lord. And he happily took it between his thumb and first finger and elegantly placed it in his mouth. Can you imagine someone putting something in their mouth elegantly? Yes, that's what he did. So Narada, when he saw this, he was very pleased. And even though, what is he doing there, of course, Narada? Narada's not come to see Lord Vamana. Narada has come to see Lord Indra. Yes. But when Narada saw Lord Vamana and all these things going on, focused on Lord Vamana, then Narada Muni just became fascinated. He just couldn't break away. He was just absorbed in watching it. So the purport says, the worship was appropriate because Lord Vamana is the most important resident of the heavenly region. In this scene, the Lord not only showed his supremacy, but also revealed his favor toward Indra by accepting his worship. And let's see what happens. Okay, there's 2 more verses. Wait, is there? No, there's 1. 2. Continuously chanting the Lord's glories, Indra described with great joy the ways the Lord had helped him in the past. Indra shone forth in his own opulence as he sat on his own throne next to the Lord, shedding from his 1,000 eyes a downpour of tears. Yeah, Indra, it's a long story. We won't get into it, but he has 1,000 eyes all over his body. all over his body from head to toe. And at times like this, when he's just so much aware of his good fortune by the grace of the Lord, and he just starts crying in ecstasy, then at least at that time, Indra thinks that I'm glad I've got 1,000 eyes. Now I can really express my feelings by crying from my 1,000 eyes. Much better than just having 2. Yes, so Indra was also engaged in worshipping his younger brother, Lord Vamana. And while this was all going on, Indra was not silent. Indra was glorifying the Lord and explaining how the Lord at different times had given him special mercy. Like, for example, from the 8th canto, from that story of Lord Vamana, how the Lord came and not just helped Indra get his kingdom back, but Lord Vamana took back the kingdom of Indra from Bali and gave it back to Lord Indra. So Indra was there worshipping the Lord and watching the Lord, and the whole scene of all these people worshipping the Lord. And while all that was going on, he was recounting how the Lord had helped him and saved him many times. So now the next subsection is from verse 8 to verse 12. And now Narada Muni, having been told by the king in South India about how fortunate is Indra by the grace of the Lord, and now seeing all of this, so Narada comes forward and starts glorifying Indra. You are the recipient of the greatest mercy of the Lord. Okay, so this is now from verse 8 to verse 12. So let's read through these things. There's not much in the way of purports, but anyway, let's read through. Verse 8. Lord Vishnu then proceeded to his own residence. Indra followed him for some distance, but then returned to the assembly hall, where Narada greeted him and began to speak. So, the point there is that for Narada Muni to glorify Indra in the presence of Lord Vamana, the Supreme Lord, it would have been inappropriate. So Narada waited until the time was right. Narada waited until the Lord left. And then he greeted Indra, saying, all glories to you. Please accept my blessings. He gave blessings to Indra. Okay, so let's read some of these verses in which Narada points out how he feels Indra has got the special mercy of the Lord. Sri Narada said, "You have surely received the Supreme Lord's mercy, because demigods like Surya, Chandra, and Yama, what to speak of the other rulers of planets, they all obey your orders." So you see, there's always reasons, specific things are pointed out by Narada Muni, how he feels, or those things which he feels are signs of, in this case, Indra. In other cases, it'll be Lord Brahma will be coming up soon. How he feels these people have got the greatest mercy of the Lord because they got certain things. So in the case of Indra, Narada Muni says, all the other demigods, all of them, they obey your orders. And so that's a sign you got the mercy of the Lord. So then verse 10, sages like me are your subjects, and the Vedas praise you as the Lord of the universe. For you bestow the fruits of religion and irreligion. So here's some more reasons that even someone like Narada, who's super special saint, devotee, even people like him, they are the subjects of Indra. We use in the English tradition, when there's royalty, a king or a queen, then the people in general who are under her being ruled by the king or the queen, or the king and the queen, they are called the subjects of the king or queen. Yeah. So Narada Muni is saying that even though I'm meant to be a great saintly person, but I'm one of your subjects, I'm under you, so you are great. And the Vedas, the Vedic scriptures, which are the topmost of all literatures, they praise you as the Lord of the universe. That's mercy. That's real mercy. And they praise you. Why do they praise you? Because you give the results of people's activities, the results of their religious activities, you give them, and you also give them the results of their irreligious activities. So, you have that right. So how much mercy you have from the Lord. And he continues in verse 11. How wonderful that Lord Narayan has become your younger brother, born of the same womb. Honoring the ways of civilized life, he always treats you with respect. Imagine being offered respect by the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. But Indra, he's the older brother. The Lord is the younger brother. And we mentioned, was it last night? Anyway, we mentioned sometime how the older brother is in a very special position in relation to the younger brothers or the sisters, just like the father. The very high position to be the older brother of anyone. So, There's a purport, and the point is made that the Lord humbly accepts the inferior role of being a younger brother. And in this way, he teaches the proper etiquette. When you're a younger brother, you've got to do things very respectfully. When you're the younger brother, you got to be very respectful to the older brother. So therefore, Lord Vamanadev submissively does what Indra tells him. So, okay, verse 12, last verse in this subsection and last verse we'll read tonight. Sri Parikshit said, the sage among the demigods, this is Narada, he's called the sage among the demigods often. The sage among the demigods thus profusely declared the extreme good fortune of Indra. As he chanted Indra's glories, he played his veena and danced. So the purport says that, remembering the southern king's declaration that the demigods are the real recipients of Lord Vishnu's mercy, Narada took this opportunity to speak out on the topic. But starting tomorrow, you wait and see tomorrow how Indra reacts, how Indra refutes Narada Muni's praise. Anyway, just wait and see. It's really quite something. How Indra feels, actually, I'm not the greatest recipient of the Lord's mercy. Actually, I haven't got any. My position is bad. I'm rejected by the Lord, actually. So we'll carry on tomorrow night. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, devotees, Hari Bol. See you tomorrow.